the stigma or like this idea that Disney Channel stars back then couldn't be mainstream pop stars. Do you think that was a poorly placed like label that like radio programmers, because obviously DSPs, like there's no Spotify or Apple, you know, and iTunes charts are pretty democratized based depending outside of like who could make it to their homepage and who couldn't back then. But like, do you think that was like well deserved or foolishly stupid?
In the moment, Allie and I thought it was foolishly stupid because we were like, don't they get it? Like, we're doing stuff that does deserve to be mainstream. This should not be just on the Disney shelf. Like, how are these people not seeing this? Now that I really look back, though, I go, there was not a lot of great stuff coming out of there at that time. And I don't want to like diss anyone. I don't truly feel that radio would have taken what was coming out of that time, because there was so much other great mainstream pop rock that was being developed outside of Disney that there was almost no room for.
Yeah, there wasn't. And again,
I think we were making good records, but it doesn't mean
really young. We were still really young too. Like when you think about it, it's like there's not a lot of like, 17 and 15-year-olds on radio. I mean, you've got Billie Eilish and she's like a anomaly. But like most people that are on radio are, in their early to mid 20s. And so for us to be that young, trying to break out on radio was obviously ambitious. And I we still are proud of the records that we made. Obviously, we would do things I know differently now, but that's just because of taste and just being older. But yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it's very interesting because, there have been acts, obviously, from the Disney era that have been able to surpass that, kind of box that they were initially put in.
Yeah, really hard. And I think, I think it also was like, really hard. And I think it was a lot of it was based on like how much money was put into this act in specific, so you needed to see a return on it. So like Miley was pushed, forever, and See You Again was a single picked by a program director that the label, if I heard the story correctly, the label at the time threatened to sue him for playing it because it wasn't the single that they were pushing. So Yeah.
When it's like, guys, it's like, just take the song and run with it.
Don't bite the hand that feeds you.
Exactly. And then, Miley, and then the Jonas Brothers. But like that, to be honest, radio didn't really play the Jonas Brothers ever. The Jonas Brothers got their first number one at radio fairly recently. I think it was like Sucker or something. Like,
yes, you're absolutely right.
But radio used the Jonas Brothers for mall shows and concerts and mob scene moments.
Great point.
Yeah,
but it's not like they were spinning their records
for
years.
No, Miley. I mean, really, it was like Miley.
But yet they were going to all the Kiss shows, they were being used to be the promotional aspect to get fans to their live shows, but then not playing them on radio.
No, you're right.
No, yeah. And if they did, it was very little.
Hillary got radio.
I think Hillary did. Yeah.
I don't know. I gotta look. Like that's. I was more of the fan on that of that time, but the other thing that she had was like Aaron Carter moments, and Aaron Carter was this weird thing. I don't know. Culture's really crazy, but the truth is, you all, in some way, shape, or form, have laid the bricks that allow so many artists and so many like really TikTok stars. Like this was all the foundation of like the culture that we deal with today. And it's pretty freaking wild when you sit down and you think about it.
No, it is. It's really wild.
No, it really is. That's why it was really cute when like Miley wrote that open letter to Hannah.
Oh.
Because it was like she was thanking her foundation. You know what I mean? It's like that's what started her. And it's like, Allie and I have some really weird things to thank, like cowbells and potential breakup song. And that's okay. Like that's awesome. We can sit down and write letters too.
Do you guys think, 10, 15 years later, do you think people still put you in a box and associate you with Disney Channel?
Yeah.
I think so.
I mean, today even like, and it's great. We've gotten a lot of love on the, media front of supporting this new record. Like it's been really overwhelming, and we've gotten some really incredible reviews, and just like, pieces of media that we would never get in the past that are really like behind these songs. But I will say almost every single post, almost every single one mentions that we came from Disney, which look is fine. I don't think that that's happening to girls like Selena and Miley anymore. but I don't know why it's still happening to us. And I'm also like, we were there for a lot less time and we were not nearly as successful, but I'm like, okay.
Yeah, people love using that as the
it's just interesting
opening kind of sentence.
And I'm like, I know that we spent our time there. We were there for about 6 years, maybe.
At the label?
14,
yeah.
15, 17, 18, 20. We were there for about 6 years. And I think everybody else was there for like 10 plus, It was like their entire childhood, teenage years, early 20s were there. And we somehow kind of ducked out. So it's interesting. Yes, there's definitely like a bit of us being put in that box still. But I don't care about it like I used to, like 5 years ago. It really would like get on my nerves in a way that it doesn't really do now.
Yeah, and you kind of have to look at it like, why does this upset me? Like, who cares? Like, everyone has some stuff.
Yeah, and then also,
it's always going to be mentioned.
And then also, you're like, well, maybe this also is just like a journalist or a writer that isn't doing like their due diligence on their research, and maybe all they really know to talk about is like, well, the easiest thing to talk about is that they are from Disney, and it's like, well, yeah, we are, but that also doesn't define who I am as an entire human.
Well, also, yeah, and by the way, if you look at your acting credits, like you guys have such an incredible resume that like even it would take you a long time if you were searching via IMDb to even get to Cowbells. Okay, real talk.
Right.
It's crazy.
Right. That's sweet. Thanks.
Well,
Zach.